Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. This episode is all about vulnerability scanning frameworks. So lots of alphabet soup, PCI, DSS, CIS, OWASP, lots of stuff going on. So we will shed some light on all of this stuff. You want to go ahead and jump right in?
Yeah, let's get to it. Which one do you want to go first?
Let's start with PCI DSS because it sounds fun.
And it's first on our list that you can't see.
Well, I wasn't going to tell them that,
Pay
but
no
all
attention
right.
to the man behind the curtain. Right, no, the Wizard of Oz.
I did get the reference.
Yeah.
Yes, it was before my time, but I have seen the
was.
movie. So
Classic.
this is a security standard that's specific to the payment card industry.
That's right. Not only, so here's what's fun about PCI DSS, right? So PCI is the payment card industry. You know, I honestly forget what DSS stands for off the top of my head now that the red light is on. You got it?
Data security standard.
Data security standard. Thank you.
I just took an exam, so I had to know it
There
for
you go.
that. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would have forgotten.
I'm so proud. Right?
Trying.
Plus, she knows I'm horrible at acronyms.
Yeah, it's hard.
We've
It's
worked
hard.
enough together that she's just like, he's never.
It's a lot to
getting
remember.
this.
Yeah.
But so yes, it is the data security standard. Thank you for having my back on that one. What's weird about it is the PCI industry, they are not governed by the government. They are governed by themselves.
Interesting.
It is interesting, right? And basically what they've said is we're going to come up with a security standard that we all agree, handshake agreement. We're all going to comply with this. And you're like, well, how do you enforce that? If you don't comply with it, we don't play with you. We don't. Yeah, we're not coming to your house. We're not going to play your video games, drink your lemonade, right? It's not going to happen. You're kind of off on your own. So that's how they're self-regulating.
Oh.
But they come out with a standard, and it's a very good one because, well, they deal with credit card payments. Guess what's one of the major things attackers want to get their hands on?
Payment card information.
Payment card information. Because if they have your credit card information, well, or your payment card information, then they can spend your money. And guess what? They're not going to be held responsible for that unless they get caught.
That is true.
Right? So when they buy that bass boat or whatever the heck that is they want to buy with your credit card, they just get a bass boat. And you get stuck with the payments.
Yeah.
Right? So security around the devices and the networks that support the PCI industry is very important. So they've done a pretty good job. And it is a good standard. And if you work as someone who wants to be a security professional, a cybersecurity professional, if you understand, and let's say you download and start like dissecting and understanding the PCI DSS, that's a good idea. Because now you have a niche. You specialize in something that's extremely important that a lot of people utilize. And you can now be a vulnerability assessor that specializes in that. And of course, there are organizations that's what they do. They specialize that. And I think there must be like certified organizations to do the certified. It's all in the PCI DSS. So that's why we're kind of going over this. So if you are of the ilk of someone who takes credit card payments, you will be kind of under the PCI DSS. Let's jump in here. We got the website open. I've got the links for these things in your learner resources. So if you want this stuff, you just check it out. You just go to this specific URL, talks about the document library, and then here is the download right here. There is your PCI DSS standard. There's the date of the publication. And of course, I want a PDF, and you just hit download, right? That will take you here. And now we can just kind of start perusing exactly what it is that is inside of the standard. I probably want to use the scroll bar here because it's a little, there's a lot to it. And you can see we've got a bunch of different things. Honestly, I'll probably just do like a Command F for find. Let's look for vulnerability. And we'll look for the next one. Actually, go. Maintain a vulnerability management program, protect all the systems from a malicious software, develop and maintain secure systems and software. So not only does it tell you how to perform, like what's the guidelines for performing a vulnerability assessment, but it also kind of gives you some good ideas on how to stay protected, things that you should be doing and that should be a part of the results of the vulnerability assessment. Oh, yes, they do have network isolation. Oh, yes, they have, so things like firewalls are in place. There are VLANs. There are antivirus systems on here. You are taking the appropriate steps. So you can extrapolate from that, oh, if it's a requirement that we have antivirus, then something that would be secure would be to have antivirus.
Sure.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So you can use it as a framework as well in that way to go, oh, this would be stuff that would be beneficial for us security-wise, and I'll be able to check the box that we are compliant.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't conflate compliance with security, but it is definitely a step in the right direction.
It kind of reminds me of like how sometimes websites will have requirements for passwords, like it has to be at least 8 characters long with a capital letter and a lowercase letter and a special character. Yeah. And just because you're compliant with that or you meet all the requirements doesn't mean your password is good.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And I think we kind of probably see some of this in here as you look through here. Like here are implementing strong access control measures. And there it says restrict access to system components and cardholder data by business need to know. All right, so this information is business need to know. So only people in the business that need to know about it get to know about it. We're implementing that, and we verify that by running a vulnerability management program. You see, it's a fun game, right? This all works together. So it's nice. You have something that you can stand. That's what the reason behind standards and frameworks is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already out there. It's already been done. We just kind of lean on it and use it to make sure that those securities are being done.
Okay. Interesting. So that's the PCI DSS.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to say that. There's no way for me to say it as a word.
I just say PCI.
PCI. That's probably good enough. Yeah. It's probably familiar enough. Yeah. So then we also have the Center for Internet Security Benchmarks, or CIS.
CIS.
Okay.
CIS benchmarks, just another really nice piece, right? You can have access to all these things with the links I've given you. Otherwise, so I've jumped through all the hoops for you.
Wow.
And these are just kind of like helpful. What's the word I'm looking for? Like hardening guides, right? Here are some security mechanisms, tactics, procedures, things you can do to make sure security is on par with what the rest of the world is believing. Since this is kind of a world standard, then it's going to maintain that parity with what we... now, of course, these things go out of date from time to time, so they will update. And we saw, like with PCI DSS, that was revision 4. This is version... so for CIS, Microsoft Windows 10 standalone benchmark. So Windows 10, the desktop operating system standalone. Benchmark version 1.01. Expect that to update or to turn into Windows 11, as we can see right there. You'll see this is version 2.0. So we've already got more versions for 11 than we did for 10. Of course, this is enterprise. It's a different thing, but you have access to these things. So you can click on any one of these lovely little items. We'll just go with this one. Why not? It'll open up, and it will give you all the wonderful things that we want.
Wow.
To help you
Incredible.
Be more secure in your Windows 10 environment. Here's let's see, we got default values,
it's
audit
clickable.
procedure. Oh yeah, you gotta love good interactive PDF, right? I can click on any of these things. Okay, here we go. Here's the real meat and potatoes, right? Access policies. Here's what a password policy should look like, or what we consider to be standard health, right? Good health and good sanity when it comes to your password security. Ensure the enforced password history is set to 24 or more passwords, and that is automated. Ensure maximum password. And you can just use this as like a checklist. Just go down that guideline and go, well, CIS is going to be our standard for how we do things in our organization because we like it. Now, compliance and regulation might be different for you and your organization, so make sure that this is allowable. But if it is, it's fine. Right? If it's not, obviously you got to go with something else. So if you were PCI DSS, you might be allowed to use CIS benchmarks, but it's not going to be the gold standard in which they hold you. They're going to hold you to PCI DSS.
Right.
You get the idea? So, but a lot of great stuff in here that will definitely keep you safe. So, and it's Windows, it's Linux, it's other stuff as well. So it tries to cover a lot of different places and things, and devices, environments, possibilities for your network.
Wow, a whole new world.
Yeah.
So much room for activities. So then we also want to talk about OWASP, which is the Open Web Application Security Project. And this is something I've heard this like talked about before, it seems like, just around the office.
So OWASP is a phenomenal resource, right? They started off really kind of focusing on web applications, and now they're moving more into like IoT and mobile and also API. They got a ton of stuff. They've really branched out in the years that they've been around, and they are one of the things, like if you start looking at job posts for something like vulnerability assessor or penetration tester, ethical hacking, that kind of thing, or maybe even on the blue team side of things, since you're maybe more inclined on that, is how familiar are you with OWASP and their standards? You should be, because it is a great standard. Many people from the industry come together, bring their knowledge and experience into these documents, real world application from real world scenarios that have actually occurred, and then they build this off of that information. So when you look at an OWASP standard, you're looking at something that's very attuned to the security world and IS and CIS systems.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I got their website up, OWASP. This is their security testing guide. And you can kind of look through this, the OWASP testing project, principles of testing. So you can kind of follow this, use this as a lattice, as a framework for you to look and go, okay, what are the principles of testing? I click on that, and it tells me these are the who, what, when, where, and why, and how of testing web applications. You'll notice it's kind of going specific to web applications, but it's delivered in a complete testing framework, not merely a simple checklist or prescription of issues that should be addressed, right? This is meant to be holistic, comprehensive, giving you the ability to test your web applications or APIs or whatever the case is, and do it comprehensively, looking for as many vulnerabilities and triage and mitigate those as possible.
Okay.
So we like OWASP. It's a big deal.
I can tell you're a big fan. So, and for good reason.
Yes.
So then we also have the last one on this list. I have a little bit of a beef with this one, only because I don't like how it's named. It irritates me. It's the International Organization for Standardization, but it's abbreviated to ISO.
Yes.
And that irritates me.
And
why
why
did they
is
do
that?
that? Because if it's the International Organization for Standardization, you would think the letters would go in that order. I imagine they don't, because there's already an iOS, but like,
yeah, that could get confusing.
why not call it the International Standardization Organization? Why not just switch the words?
You know, I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
You don't know? You're supposed to have all the answers. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's my
ask
personal.
Wes knows.
Oh.
I guarantee Wes
I'll write that
knows.
down. Well, that's just a personal beef I had.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a great organization, but
I remember thinking that thought one time, and then I just didn't care. So
eventually it just won't matter. Okay.
like, that's not stuff that
I'm sure they do great
I
things.
only got so much RAM, you know.
That's true.
I got to
Yeah.
make.
You have bigger things to worry
yeah,
about.
That wasn't one of them. But so ISO 27001 specifically. So you get the 27,000 like family or series. 27,001 is going to be like kind of our bread and butter in
Gotcha.
like strict cybersecurity. If you get 27,001 accredited, how do we put that? Accredited.
Accredited.
I think that's the word I'm looking for. Then your organization has a real gold star to pin on their chest and say, we have been through some fairly intensive and rigorous security auditing, and we have passed that. We have done it here. We have been through that. And what's fun is when you get those audits, little weird things kind of pop up, and you go, huh, I did not think we were doing that, and we are. And so it does give you a chance to correct and mitigate and then retest to make sure that those mitigations have been applied correctly and then move on. So if we get past 27,001, you get that accreditation, then the people that are doing business with you or investors that are looking to invest in your organization can go, well, at least we know their computer security is on points. There are other 27,000 issues, but like I said, typically 27,001 are going to be kind of our bread and butter. Mm-hmm. We can see that this thing is just jumping. It secure information in all forms, including paper-based, cloud-based, and digital data, increase resilience to cybersecurity attacks, provide centrally managed framework that secures all information in one place, so on and so forth. Plenty of good reasons why you would want to use 27,001. And it just very well may be the thing that the organizations you're looking to do business with is looking for. Mm-hmm. It's that badge of honor that if you don't have on your chest, then, sorry, pal, we're moving down the road. So it's cool. You can be PCI DSS and 27,001. Now you got 2 badges of honor,
Yeah. Why not?
right? And if you're working in those industries, you probably want that.
Yeah. Never have too many badges.
Yeah, and they will help you get through all this stuff. So it's really good. You can get certified as an auditor for this in 27001. You can download these standards. They do cost money.
Oh, okay.
To download the guides,
Gotcha.
frameworks themselves.
Good to know.
They do cost money. You can download older ones that are running around on the internet. But you have to understand it is not an up-to-date standard at that point.
Yeah.
So if you find one, then they're free. It's either a bait and switch kind of thing. Right. I've also got a bridge I'll sell you.
Yeah.
If it's the latest one and it's free.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. If you believe that, I'll tell you another.
Go straight to the ISO website. That's where you want to get this information from.
Get it from the source.
Yes.
Makes sense. Do we have time for a brief fun fact about
I would love a fun fact, yes.
So I was curious, and while you were speaking, I Googled, why do they call it that? Because it was irritating me.
Yeah.
And like you said, eventually I wouldn't care. But I wanted to know. So the reason for it is that International Organization for Standardization would have different acronyms in different languages. It would be OIN in French and IOS in English. So instead, they gave it the short form ISO. It's derived from the Greek isos or isos, which means equal. So that is why it is called ISO instead of something else.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Yeah.
And now I know. And
Now
I was over here like, why would you do that? And there was a good reason.
Like a splinter in her mind.
Like it really was. Thorn in my side, that acronym. So now I know. So is there anything else we need to know about these frameworks or about frameworks in general before we sign off?
Just that they are used for us. That's the big takeaway. That we use these frameworks and it might be told to us, might be voluntold that this is what you use. That's fine. But if that is the case, then you're going to want to get neck deep down into those things and learn how to be efficient working your way through it. Other than that, it's kind of anybody's dealer's choice. Pick one. If you got a web application, hit that OWASP. If you're looking to just kind of harden up some servers, maybe grab those CIS benchmarks for each one of the types of servers that you have, run through it like a checklist, right? Could be useful.
Yeah.
Do those hardening things. ISO 27000, obviously that's going to be for accreditation. And that may be the very thing you're looking for. And then you spend a little bit of money, get through that accreditation, get that badge of honor, and then do what you got to do.
And this is kind of an aside. For me, I'm still relatively new to all this stuff. And so even though I'm not intimately familiar with each of these and exactly all of the points in them, it's been good for me to know at least what they stand for and kind of what they are and where they're used, because it seems to come up a lot, I feel like, in conversation and in different courses and things like that. So just good to know. It's good to know what you're talking about sometimes. Not that I would know. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for walking us through this, Daniel, and thank you for joining us for this episode. We'll see you next time.